The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and this is Dr. Mansour. I'm here in Fresno, and this is the Professional Engineering Services and the Education. And we have this session today in order to introduce you the new PE Civil CBT. As all of you know that the NCEES decided to speed up the process of transferring the exams or moving the exam from the standard or the normal pencil and paper to CBT. Theoretically speaking, it's supposed to start 2023, but they made it a little bit earlier because of the pandemic, most likely. But anyhow, the decision has been made, and now we are dealing with CBT. So the purpose of this discussion today, from now until 2 o'clock, I will go over what I believe or what I think is the best way to handle this exam. A suggestion from my end, maybe you have a better suggestion from another source, but I will tell you what I think, and already I start teaching the classes, and I am following this procedure or this approach or this methodology, which I believe it might be a successful one. There is no guarantee of anything. I've been teaching for 37 years, but I'm doing everything based on what I believe is correct, but not necessarily to be always to be 100% correct. So, as you know, the old exam, if we compare the old, which is a pencil and paper, PE exams, and here I'm talking about specifically the PE Civil, which is my area of expertise. The old one was the last October exam, and basically you are allowed to take any material with you, and you have 80 questions in the 40 in the morning. Start with 101 to 140, and after that from 501 to 540 for the PM. This is the old NCEES practice exams, the one they used to have it, the blue cover. And I'm sure that some of you, or maybe not all of you, but it depends really if you took the exam before or not. But basically you are familiar with this book, which is the blue cover. For example, this is for the geotech. This is the practice exams that were published before based on the old system. Basically start with 101, the first problem 101, and they call it Civil AM. And they go all the way to 140, which is the last problem. And after that, this is the end of the AM. This is the last problem, the 140. And after that, let me remove this here. I cut my finger yesterday, so I think it's already in good shape. And after that, in the afternoon, it depends on your afternoon session, geotechnical or structures or transportation or construction. Normally, they used to start from 501 to all the way to 540, and this is the end of the PM. which is the last problem 540 here. For example, this is the geotechnical PM. This is the old one. The new one, they came up with the new set of books. So the new CBT PE Civil. I hope that the audio and the video are working fine. Please let me know if you cannot hear me or you have a problem with the audio. You have a window in front of you. Those of you who are joining me the first time, I'm using GoToWebinar for the last 20 years or so. And also I'm using the system for Fresno State CSE, Fresno here teaching the classes I'm teaching. I believe it's better than Zoom. This is, or I'm get familiar with it. So please let me know if you have any technical difficulties or you have an issue. Please let me know. You can write the question that you would like to write, or you can raise your hand and I will unmute you and you can speak out. But let me finish first my thoughts and my idea and our ideas, and after that you are very welcome to raise any question or comment on any of anything that I proposed, and you can add. Everything is fine. So I got an email, I got a text from one of you, or thank you very much. So the new one, the new PE Civil CBT, here you can carry, you can take any bounded material, any bounded materials with you, okay? As many as you want. I remember that some engineers, they carry boxes of books and references. This is gone. Okay. The new, they have question 1 to question 80, one set. Okay, they came up with 5 books. The color this time is white, so they decided to change it from the blue one to the white one. Here it is. This is examples here. They came up with 5 books. Okay, and I will tell you what change they made. So these are the transportation and construction, the new NCEES, they released structural and so on. Okay, so the new ones, they number the questions in sequential order. Let me just remove this here, drop something on the floor. And this is the geotechnical, if some of you are interested in the geotechnical. So they number the question. Let me give you an example. Let me get a book, at least I can write. So right now they start from 1. Okay, this is the question number 1. For example, this is PE Civil Construction. So if you decided to take construction, this, okay, what they are proposing as some examples or some practice exams. They started from question number 1 all the way to question number 80. So they don't separate them anymore. And question number 80, let me share it is, which is the last question here, that this is the question 80. Okay, so this question here is the last question of the construction, and the exam will be, they are saying at the beginning of the book here that they have 80 questions. CBT, this is a Pearson's, okay, testing center or centers. You're supposed to allocate 9 hours, but the actual exam is 8 hours only. And in addition to the normal A, B, C, D, the 4 typical answers in the past, now they introduce what is known as AIT. They got this concept from the FE. They applied this in 2014. AIT is called alternative item types, where you have multiple correct options. You have A, B, C, D, E, F, and you select the applicable or select multiple choices. Point and click, drag and drop, and fill in the blank. So those, they call them AIT, alternative item types. And in their new books, okay, the NCEES, they apply this only to the PM section, which is the last 40 questions. They introduce about 3 or 4 questions based on the new type. So basically, this is the difference that I need you to be aware of. So the So we have the AIT here, but I need you to be aware in their practice exam, the AIT is only, they apply to the PM, which is from question number 41 to 80. They don't apply to the first 40 question. The first 40 question, in fact, they are verbatim from the old book. Verbatim, all the 40 questions that those of you are familiar with. If not, they are copying the same 40 questions that it was in the old, and no change at all, no single, okay, a change in the 40 questions. Okay. So, but the PM questions, which started from 41 to 80, for example, in construction, for example, this is construction, you'll find that they changed 3 questions. Okay, they kept everything the same except 3 questions. I will show it to you right now. Okay, and you will remember for those who, okay, for example, this here. This question here, question 60 of the construction, BM as an example. Okay, I can go geotechnical or water resources. So this problem, by the way, it was in the past, in the previous system, they give you 4 answers, A, B, C, D, for network diagrams, A, B, C, D. Now they got only 1 diagram, and they put here the activities, and they are telling you, go ahead and place each activity number in the correct location on the network diagram. So you need to take 5 to put it here, 6 to put here, and so on. So instead, if you compare this with the old one, you will find that we have 4 separate diagrams, and each diagram has different, okay, orientation of, or different placement of these network activities, sorry. And after that, we use to pick A, B, C, or D. Now they ask you to fill, okay, the activities, or place the activities in the proper, okay, location. This is, for example, there is another problem, welding problem. It used to be 4 diagrams. Here it is, welding. This will take, that's okay. So this based on the steel manual, okay, welding notations and diagrams. So this is what is given, and they give you 1 answer here, okay, and they are telling you the A or B or C or D. So basically come and they click on that, and instead, in the past, the same problem, by the way, they give 4 diagrams, A, B, C, D, 1 time with this, 1 time with this, and so on. It's just a matter of, and I believe this is question number 70. For example, this is a new question. It was not there before. So this is the new question in the construction. So yeah, they have A, B, C, D, E, and F. So they are not limiting the answer to the standard 4, A, B, C, D. Now they are adding, and they select, okay, select the 3 scenarios that are permissible according to the ACI 347R-14. So you are going to select the 3 scenarios among these, okay, given. So this is what they did for the PM. So, but the rest of the questions are essentially the same as in the previous. And this is the same story with the transportation and water resources and geotechnical and structure. So the huge difference from my point of view is not the AIT. The AIT, this is an easy one. Instead of giving you 4 diagrams, they give you 1 diagram and they select or fill the blank, or this is not really the biggest challenge. That this one here, that you are not, let me put something here because I have an issue with my finger. Let me see if I can have. The biggest challenge, which I'm sure that all of you are concerned about that, and you are asking how we are going to handle this, is a challenge, and I'm sure that you will pass. Don't worry. It's just a matter of right material, with the right study philosophy, with the right preparation. I believe you will pass, because this is what they did for the FE. For those who took the FE before, it was pencil and paper, and they switched to the FE CBT since 2014, and I was doing this, and I came up with the same almost philosophy that I will tell you about today, and it was very successful, and the passing rate was very high, and I believe it could help you too. So the biggest challenge is the materials that we're supposed to carry to the exam site is no longer allowed. The only thing that you are allowed to take to the exam site or the testing site or the testing center, a couple calculators, and you can check always with, please check with the NCEES. Everything I tell you today, to the best of my knowledge, I got it from the NCEES, but they may change or they may update or they make any changes. So I always encourage everybody to go to the NCEES and check all the rules and regulations and system and the ways and methods, everything. Try to make sure that you are really following their guidelines, because you will be entitled to follow their guidelines at the testing center. Otherwise, it will be a problem. So no materials are allowed to be taken to the exam site. So what they did, they came up with something is called PE Civil Reference Handbook. They issued last year, and it was version 1.0, and they released another one last November, and V1.1. This reference handbook, I call it the blue book, okay? Not the Kelly blue book for the cars, no. This is a blue book for the PE. I was teaching yesterday, and every time I say, this is the blue book, okay. Here is a blue book. The PE Civil Reference Handbook 1.1. This is released November of last year, November 2021. This book consists of 6 chapters. The first chapter, they call it General Engineering. General Engineering. First chapter is General Engineering. And the General Engineering consists of math, at a little bit of units at the beginning, and conversion of units, math, statistics, statics, mechanics of materials, and engineering economics. Those are the components or the items discussed in chapter 1. After that, they go to chapter 2, which is a construction, and chapter 3, geotech, and chapter 4, structural, and chapter 5, the transportation, and chapter 6, the water resources and environment. 6 chapters in this book. This book is available right now on the NCEES as a PDF, and you can download it. And they mentioned here you can download, you can use this document. And I already downloaded, and I took permission, and I printed. Even I gave it to the engineers who were taking my class last October, or for the October exam, and it did help them a lot, because I know they mentioned that when they released this last July, I believe, July 2002, they said that you can take this with you to the exam because it was allowed to take any material. But when they mentioned that, I printed and I gave it to them, and I coiled it and gave it to them, and I went over whatever material I need to go over in order to point out what I think that you need to know. They might ask questions from the equations or the tables or the charts given in this book. It turned out to be this case, and the passing rate was very high last time, 85, which is about 85%. So this book consists of 6 chapters. Chapter 1 is the general engineering. Chapter 2 is the construction. Chapter 3 is the geotech. Chapter 4, the structural, and chapter 5, transportation, and chapter 6, the water resources and the environment. The biggest 2 chapters, by the way, in this book, chapter 6, which is the water resources and the environmental, and the second biggest chapter is chapter 3, which is a geotech. By far. Okay, I can give you the page number and you'll see. This book will be available to you on the exam day, where the screen, I don't know if they are going to give you 2 screens or not. I asked the engineers to call the NCEES or they call the persons and ask, are they going to give you 1 screen or dual screen? If it is 1 screen like the FE, normally they split the screen and they give you the PDF on one side and the questions on the other side. This is what they are doing now with the FE, and I'm expecting that they will do the same thing because the same testing site for the FE. So most likely they are going to give you the same features or the same facility as far as. So your responsibility on the exam day that to go to the testing site, and the first 40 questions, most likely, and this is what I'm guessing, and I believe my guess is based on whatever I search and I ask and I collect information, the first 40 questions should be answered based on the information and the tables and the charts and mentioned in the blue book, the reference handbook. So you need to search, okay? And I will go over some example problems to tell you, okay, what will be the best way to do that. But the other 40 questions, question 41 to 80, this is based on design references. Design references. And these design references are listed also on the exam specification or the test plan. For example, for construction, they have 8. For transportation, they have 9. They used to have 12. They dropped it to 9. For example, I list these references. They are available on the website of the NCEES, and this is what I copied. So the new transportation CBT, so those are the NCEES 9 references. Reference number 1, which is the ASH2, the Green Book, Geometric Design for Highways and Streets, all the way to the MUTCD. So there are 9 references, design references. These will be available for those who are going to select transportation as a PDF also. The Highway Safety Manual, the Highway Capacity Manual, name it. All these references listed here, all of them will be also available to you, searchable PDF. Where you search, for example, if I need to get the stopping side distance, okay, they give you a problem and calculate the stopping side distance, or give you a scenario related to stopping side distance, for example. So you need to go and search to see where is the stopping side distance. You will notice that the stopping side distance, it is in the first book, which is ASH2, the Green Book, Policy on Geometric Design of Highways and Streets. You will go to the chapter 3, and I will show that. And you're supposed to know where is the equation and where is the table. And if there is any chart associated with it or any graph, you should know that. So I will pick up the proper equation or the proper table or the proper chart or maybe the proper text if they are asking conceptual question. And so on. If they are asking me about the LOS, level of service, we know the LOS for highway segments or 2-lane highways or multi-lane highways, name it. Roundabouts, if I need to go to the proper document. What the proper document is what? Is the Highway Capacity Manual, the HCM. So the Highway Capacity Manual, I need to go to the proper volume because the Highway Capacity Manual 3 volumes, as all of you know. So, and I will go and pick the proper, okay, chapter, the Highway Capacity Manual, which is volume 1 to 3. Okay, with corrections and okay, you need to go to the proper volume. And when I teach this, I show the volumes and I go over the volumes, which one is a volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. You need to know which volume you need to go to pick up the proper equation for the LOS, for the proper facility. All this is a searchable PDF because you are not allowed to take any material with you anymore. The same can be said about construction. Construction, okay, they added one more reference this time, which is reference number 8, which is Design and Control of Concrete Mixtures, 17th edition. 2021. Okay, this is published by PCA. I used this book back when I was in Las Cruces, New Mexico. It was in the first few editions. Can't remember which edition, but right now they are 17th edition. We use it a lot for concrete mixing and concrete properties. And concrete. So again, if there is a question related to formwork, you need to go to SB4. MUTCD, if we need to get something, name it. All these, OSHA, if I need to get something related to OSHA, they give us the sections that will be available to you also as a PDF. So after you read the question, you need to jump to the proper reference and search the keywords, and you locate the table or the chart or the section that you can extract the answer. So this is the difficulty, that they are no longer carrying books and standards with you to open, because all of us, we used to mark and put tabs and put many tabs and so on. Now, no more. The type of question that that we need to prepare ourselves for, if you look to let's talk about the AM first, which I call it, they don't call it the AM, but I'm still using the term that AM, even our class also, which is the first 4 question. When I started 2 weeks ago with the group that I'm teaching the class, or who are enrolled in my class, I went over the 4 questions and told them what I think. For example, this question number 1 is asking to calculate the volume. Here is a canal, has a certain length and some dimensions, the thickness of the lining, and they are asking what is the volume of the concrete considering 12% waste. The questions, and I'll be glad to go over more than one example, that for the 40 questions in the morning, the best way I will do it, I said that there are type of questions I should answer them without opening any book, without going to the blue book to get any equation. Because here they ask me the volume. I know the volume is equal area times length. I'm not using the average in the area or the Prismodial formula or the prism or the pyramid or truncated cone or any other method. Basic equation, volume is equal area times length. So what I need to get the cross-sectional area of this lining, very simple math, multiplied by the length, and take into consideration the waste, and convert cubic feet to cubic yard because he needed to be in cubic yard. So this problem, yes, you don't need to search in the reference handbook for the equation, because there is no equation like this. Okay, they have a equation for the average in the area method, which is the same thing as this area. Consider this area 1, and at the end of the 227 feet is area 2, A1 plus A2 divided by 2, which is basically the same area. So it is just area times length. But I don't need to go and search for such thing. So this is a typical problem that you should be prepared, and if you practice enough, you will be able to answer many questions without really looking for the proper equation, because you know that the equations are there. If you look to the second problem, problem number 2, he is asking a truck loader has an initial cost of this amount and salvage value at the end of the expected 10-year life, based on a straight line method depreciation at the end of the 8th year, what is the book value? So basically you have a cash flow diagram, very simple cash flow diagram. I have 75,000. This is the initial cost, which is C. Normally we use C for the initial cost. And the S sub N, which is the salvage value, is 10,000. At the end of the N is equal 10 years. And he is asked what is the book value, BV, book value, using the straight line depreciation. If we go to the blue book, you will find that under general, the first chapter, general, and specifically if you go to the economics section, you will find that on page 3 38, this is the depreciation using the straight line method. This is the depreciation per year. And this is the book value. So the book value is equal the initial cost minus the sum of the depreciation. Okay, so basically I would say the book value is equal the first cost minus the sum of the depreciation of all these years. Maybe you will remember this equation because you practice enough. And I need to get the d sub j. D sub j is equal C minus S sub n divided by n. And here is the equation. It is how to calculate the depreciation using the straight line method. The equation is given on the same page. D sub j is equal C minus S sub n over n. Maybe if you practice enough, you will be able to recognize or memorize these equations. And on the exam, if you cannot recall these equations because you forgot them and you would like to make sure, you should know where are these equations. You have this PDF is searchable. You can search. But if you practice enough, normally I recommend a hard copy. This is why I included hard copy, okay, as part of the class notes that I'm providing or class materials. I'm providing 5 references for the AM for 5 books. Book number 4 and book number 5, these are the NCEES. I have nothing to do with them. Because I need everybody to have this book. Okay, and these are the practice exams. These my 3 books, the updated one. And what I did, I took the old book, which is the first edition I've been using for a long time. Okay, this is my first edition, Civil Breath Reference Manual, which has 8 chapters. The materials is still the same, by the way. Topics and subtopics are still the same for all discipline, as far as I know. I compared it very well, specifically for construction and the transportation, but I compared what I did. I went to the NCEES website, and if you look here, I can show you right now. So in the NCEES, they are talking about the exam, which is the 80 questions, 9 hours, and they mentioned that the exam is a computer-based. It is a closed book with electronic references, the NCEES reference handbook, and as well as design standards. These are the design standards, the 9 for the transportation and the 8 for construction, for example, applicable to, it will be given to you. Unfortunately, you cannot get access to the PDF right now. Okay, to the best of my knowledge, if you go to their website, they obviously they don't provide access to any PDF of these references now. The only thing they provide access is the reference handbook, the blue book. But the ASH2 or any other reference, you are not going to be able to get access unless you purchase it. Okay, the examinees have 9 hours to complete the exam. 80 questions, 9 hours include some kind of tutorial and breaks and so on. You can take lunch. The exam is still in the SI units and the US. What they did also as a change, if you go to the project planning is still the same topics and subtopics. They give a range, 4 to 6. On the previous one, this was not a range. On the previous one, they were specific. Okay, if you go to the old one, let's go to the old one, you will find that for the project planning, here it is, project planning, the same topics, A, B, C, D, here it is, A, B, C, D, the same topics answer. But here, they said that the approximate number of questions, and the old one, they have a specific number. Here, they give it a range to give them more flexibility and questions can move. So they give a range, okay, of questions. But as far as the topics and subtopics, they are essentially still the same. No change at all. So what I did, I took my old book and modified it. For example, I was teaching. So what I did, I copied everything from the reference handbook. For example, this is statics. I copied this section and I wrote here on the side, What is this section coming from? This is a source. I put it in a box. This is what you are going to see on the exam day. Okay, NCEES PE Civil Reference Handbook 1.1, page 19. This is what you will see. What does it mean this? I explain it with some examples and so on. And this will be the theme of my whole, okay, AM. Okay, so the AM, basically, for example, here it is. We're talking about centroids, areas, and I gave, here it is. Yesterday, I was talking about mechanics of materials, which is basically, here it is. You go, for example, a section in mechanics of materials. This is what is given in the reference handbook, put it in a box. Okay, uniaxial loading and deformations. Sigma is equal P over A. E is equal and so on, delta, and I gave the reference from where I got. My job was to take the information that will be available to you, or the equations available to you on the exam day from the reference handbook, and start to explain it and solve problems, showing diagrams, derive some equations, and go over a lot of problems. It's very important to solve as many problems as you can. For example, until yesterday, we did not finish yesterday economics, but I will finish it next week because we're talking about mechanics of materials. I hit about 109 questions, okay, for the statics and mechanics of materials and unique economics, 109 problems. We need to expose because you need to understand the concept very, very well. Okay, so, but as far as this is a chapter 1 until chapter 8, which is a site development, this it used to be the AM. Now, the number now, the chapter 9 and 10, 11, goes all the way. This is, for example, construction. So it is 15. It used to be 8 for the AM plus 7 for the PM. You will find this is 15 chapters. So they call it 15. They are no longer starting over again because they are merging the AM and PM together. And this is why they call it chapter 15. And my new book will start based on that. Okay, based on the new numbering system. But the topics and the subtopics is still the same. So the AM questions, there are different categories. As I said, that the first category here, that simple equation about volume, you should know that. This here, you should know where the equation for the straight line depreciation method. If you remember them very well and you are sure, in this case, you can answer this question without really touching the blue book or searching in the blue book. Some, you can answer them with minimum effort. The budget labor, okay, for excavation task, so and so, very easy, and so on. If you, this is a project management, and so on. So the same 40 problems in the best, for example, will solve this problem. You don't need to open any book to solve this problem. If we know some moments, sigma forces, x direction, and so on, conceptual questions are very, very important. For example, question number 8 is related to the lateral earth pressures, the active and the passive. If we know the passive earth pressure and the active earth pressure and the equations and the relationship between them and which one is affected by what are the factors that are affecting each and so on, conceptual questions are very, very important. And lately, you will find that we have a lot of conceptual questions. So I prepared my books and prepared my materials based on that. For example, trusses, we already covered that. So all what you will see in trusses in statics. If you go to the statics section of the blue book, you'll find there is a small section about statics. Okay, here it is. If I go to chapter 1, still in chapter 1, which is the general engineering, I will go to the statics section, and you will find that here it is. The trusses. You will find that on page 22. You will find statically determined truss, okay, plane truss method of joints, give you the two equations, two equilibrium equations. If you flip the page, you will find that talking about the method of sections, and that's it. But in my discussion about this topic, obviously I need to explain it more. So what I did, I copied these sections and I put it, and I'll show you in just a minute. Here it is. So this is what I did. This is a section that's given in the NCEES, the blue book, statically determined trusses, and I gave you, came from these pages. Method of sections and method of joints and the equilibrium equation. Let's start talk about a little bit more. This is my explanation, and go over and discuss the three methods. Even I added the other method, which is sometimes we included in the discussion in the classrooms for the students, cut and sum method, which is basically like the method of sections. But I needed to be just a little bit more. Maybe this word is mentioned in one of the questions, but basically the method of joints, method of sections, and how can we determine the zero force members, definitions for tension, compression, and after that go over problems. Solve as many problems as you can. Okay, so if, okay, at the end you'll find the table, the famous tables for the moment of inertia and the parallel axis theorem and polar moment of inertia and radius of gyration. All these things are useful. This came from statics. This came from the FE book exactly. In fact, you'll find that the 7 problems, for example, I was talking about this problem yesterday, number 16, two identical beams, two beams. One is twice the length of the other. What will be the maximum bending stress in the longer beam is larger by a factor of what? Even I moved the question to make it deflection, or we can make it also related to shear stress, name it. So all these are coming from statics and mechanics of materials. And so on. For example, there was a question, we solved it also, which is a question number 32 yesterday, talking about concrete. He said a Department of Transportation must remove and replace 12 foot by 20 foot concrete slabs, concrete slab on an interstate facility, and give you. So if you go to the book and search the different type of cements, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5, and the use for each one, you will not find it. They assume that you know that. And this is what they mentioned, by the way. They mentioned at the beginning of this book, the blue book, they mentioned something very, very important. I read it twice, and I so to the engineers, I need you to read the introduction in the blue book. It's very, very important. The introduction in the blue book says that the exam is given so and so and so and so. Okay. They mentioned that the PDF version of the PE Civil reference handbook that you use on the exam day will be very similar to that one. However, pages, not needed, to solve, like the cover and so on, it will be removed. NCEES will periodically revise and update the handbook, and each PE 7 will be administered using the updated one. So they may update, they found typos, mistakes, or errors. So I need you always to follow the NCEES. If they have any updated, this is a 1.1. Maybe they're going to come up next month by another 1.2, or your exam day, whatever your exam day, right? Okay. And they mentioned something here, which is the PE 7 reference handbook does not contain all the information required to answer every question on the exam. I needed to highlight this, and I thought, okay, here it is. So this reference handbook does not have every equation and everything that you need for the exam. They assume that there are some information you should know, and there are some equations you should know. So here it is. The PE 7 handbook does not contain all the information required to answer every question. Okay. Theories, conversation, formulas, and definitions that examiners are expected to know have not been included. So they are assuming that you know some additional information. For example, the cement. They mention in the book here, I searched it. Maybe somebody can I'm still digging in this book and know every single word in the book. I couldn't find it, the different types of cement, 5 types of cement, and the use for each one. But if you go to my book, okay, the old book, okay, which is to be included in the new book also, I will go to the material section, which is chapter 7. I can show you the table based on the ASTM C150, the different types of cement and the use of each one of them. Here it is. This is an easy for me. And in the past, here it is. This table here, table 713, 5 types of cement. Type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5, based on the ASTM C150. Even in the following page, I explain a little more about the types of cements and the use for each type. Here, you cannot find this table or this information about the cements in the blue book. They are assuming that you know that. Okay, and the same story, the types of admixtures. So we need to be aware of that the NCEES is providing you with the blue book, but they are telling you the blue book does not have everything. That means that the preparation must be higher or must be more intensive or must be more broadly, let me put it that way. And this is the task that I'm trying to do with the group that I'm helping them right now by adding a lot of information within the boundaries of the NCEES, because as I told you that you are not supposed to carry anything, and I will overwhelm them with some practice problems. We need to practice and practice and practice. This is why the first 3 sections already I have 109 questions, because I need to solve. The sky is the limit. Within the general exam description or the testing plan or the type of problems, the type of topics or the topics and the subtopics. I'm not asking you to be knowledgeable about everything, but we need to do our best to try to be 150% ready. Okay, not 100%. Always I say that I need you to go to the exam this time 150. Okay, 150% ready, not 100% ready. Because I need you to go to take the exam once and that's it, and forget it. It's too much headache and too much stress. But what can we do? Okay, this is the NCEES, and they decided to switch to the CBT, and we have not, and you will pass. It's just a matter of you need to sit and study and study and study. And I'm lucky that I developed my own books that based on what I have been doing for the last 37 years as a professor. I'm doing my best. I cannot claim anything other than just I'm doing all my best. The AM, the PM, it will be a little bit easier for me, because when I developed my own books for the transportation and construction, those are the 2 areas that I'm teaching. For example, this is a transportation reference manual, the 3rd edition. I'm lucky because I reference everything in this book based on it used to be 12 references, okay? But now, for example, here, this is the decision side distance. What it is, there, for example, just I open the book. This is section in my transportation, decision side distance. Decision side distance is taken from where? It's taken from Ashton, which is the 7th edition, the current one. So I provide them with a table, and this is equation 3-4. I put something here on the side. I modified this table after the ASH to give me some kind of copyright, okay, to modify this thing. So I put the equations and explain them, and followed by some example problems. But also, ASH, they provide tables. So these tables are provided in my book also. So you will not see this on the exam carrying my books, but you will see them if you go to page 3-8, and this is what I will show them. Okay, on the geometric design, the ASH book. Here it is. This is what you will see. Maybe my table is a little bit modified, by the way. And it has a funny story, because in the past, ASH, they don't have a grid for the tables. The old ASH, if you are familiar, and when I start to get the copyright from them, I suggested to them to make it, okay, for example, this is an older edition of the ASH, okay? And if you look to their tables, their table, they don't have, here it is. They do, just like that. And it was very difficult. Sometimes you can go up one line, so you must have a straight edge. Now you don't have a straight edge. So I'm lucky that in the newer edition, when I propose this to them, they make it okay, carrying the columns and the rows. This is, for example, a newer edition. Let's go to chapter 3, for example, and look to any table. You'll find the tables that they put a grade, which is very good. I wish they did this also for the interest tables. The interest tables are still okay in this book here, in the blue book, is still here it is, the interest tables. You have to be careful during the exam, especially this will be on the screen. You need to get in and go horizontally to get whatever factor you would like to get for the proper interest. There is no, you have to go, be careful. You can go up and down. I wish that they make it grid at least much easier. I can follow for n is equal, whatever is, I can go horizontal. But I don't know why they did that. I wish that they can. Okay, if you have a hard copy, we used to have a straight edge. Yes, I can put my straight edge, as you remember, to make sure that I lined up everything. During the exam, be careful, because this could be a source for an error, especially you see this on the screen. So try to use some kind of paper, if you can put it against the screen in order to pick the proper value, because this, it could be a common mistake. Here I did this, but also I modified these tables, modified it by putting something on the side. This is not in the original one. Okay, I put this here to alert the engineers. This is a decision side distance table. Don't go to other table, because we have too many tables, and we need to make sure that we are using. So I get here decision side distance, the source table, so and so and so and so, geometry design 70th edition 2022 with permission. So, and we put, okay, in the 7th edition, by the way, they reverse it. They make the SI units here and the US custom unit. It was reversed on the previous edition. US was here and the metric was here, but anyhow, this is not the point. The point that this is what you will see. So this followed by a problem. So basically, so I did this all my transportation and construction book, that I extracted the information from the references that I believe that you need, but I cannot claim that I extracted everything. No, I cannot make this claim that I extracted everything from these references. I did my best, and I hope that this in the past it did help many engineers, and I hope I can keep doing this. So the exam will be a little bit of a challenge. For example, here. Okay, this here, okay, this is the AM question number 39. Gave you this house here, and this is cut slope here, existing building, and they need to get this distance X, and they gave you the type of the soil. This soil type is soil type B. So, and this is a cut here. Okay. So right now we need to get, based on OSHA, if I know what type of soil is that, soil type B. In this case, we can see what is the slope, permitted slope. So in this case, I will go to the geotechnical in the blue book. So the geotechnical is chapter 3, and I need to know where is and maybe during studying, maybe you can put some marks here. I know you are not going to take it with you, but at least to know the approximate location and where they are located. Okay, the OSHA cut maximum or permissible cut slopes based on this table. There is a table, and I need the more you get familiar with this book, the better the chance for passing the exam, because you know where these things are located. And let me see, and here it is, for example. Okay, this is the table they are referring to. Soil type B, it is 1 to 1, where the angle is, the repose angle or the slope angle is going to be 45 degrees. So the soil type B, so this is from the OSHA. So if I know this table, you are going to type search, and you need to practice, okay, searchable PDF files, search, because you need to locate where this table, you are not going to fill, I'm just showing, okay, and after that, no, and so on. So I will go to this table. I see, oh, this table here, 1 to 1, so 1 to 1. Okay. So in this case, it became piece of cake the moment that I locate the table. So if this is 12, so this is 1 to 1. So this is also be 12 from here to here, 12. 12 and 5 is 17, and the answer is 17. And that's it. And if you go to the problem 39, for example, okay, the solution, as you know, provided, okay, 39, you see, here it is. This is what they did. They said that the soil type B maximum permissible slope is 1 to 1. So this is 12 12 and added 5, and we ended with 17. But the point is, we need to locate the proper table as quickly as possible. The proper table that I can determine the maximum slope horizontal to vertical that's permissible by the ocean based on the soil type, and so on. So it is a matter of reading the question. You have some keywords in every question. You try to search it, because you have searchable PDF, and you will go and locate the table or the chart or the equation. There are some questions they are assuming that you should be able to know how to handle it. For example, this question number 40 of this is the last question of the AM, if you like to call it AM, okay, or the first 4 question, which is they could be solved using the blue book. The blue book. So he gave you a scenario, and he gave you this graph here, and this graph is taken from this reference, which is a ROSA design guide, AASHTO, one of the references for the transportation. Here it is, ROSA design guide. And he gave you this scenario here for the ditch, and he said that what is the steepest back slope. This, you don't find anything in the blue book related to this at all. This is they need to test your knowledge to see that can you make a judgment or not, can you read such a chart or not, even you have never seen it before. And maybe because the ROSA design is one of the references for the transportation, and most of the people probably they don't use it in school or maybe at your workplace, so you never saw this reference before, you never really. So but they give you a scenario from it, a graph or equation or table or chart, and they'll tell you what will be. So basically you need to read the question carefully, and every question, by the way, it has a key word or keywords. They say that based on the criteria provided, the steepest back slope horizontal to vertical preferred to the ditch shown is most nearly. So he gave you a ditch, trapezoidal ditch. The width here is 4 feet. But he gave here in the drawing, give you 2 sets of this one here, that this area is applicable to V ditches, all V ditches, rounded channels with bottom less than 2.4 meter or 8 feet, and the trapezoidal channel with a bottom width less than 4 feet. I have my trapezoidal channel here is 3 feet, so I am less. So in this case, I will go with this. So this is the applicable one. All this. He gave you another for another scenario, but this, since the width of this trapezoidal ditch here is less than 4 feet, so I am here. I know one slope here. This is, they call it the fore slope, which is given here, and this is the back slope. They will like you to determine what will be the back slope, the steepest one. So basically the fore slope, it is 1 to 5. Here is vertical, horizontal. So 1 to 5 is here. Here it is 1 to 5. And I will go with the straight edge. Obviously, I don't know right now. You don't have, this will be on the screen. Probably are going to use the mouse to come down, and you can come down and you will move horizontally. Again, you need to use the mouse to draw a line because this is a PDF. We need to know. So right now, this will give me the back slope. So the back slope, I have 1.124, sorry, or they give a decimal here, by the way. This is 124, 125, 126. So anything, okay, beyond this point, going this way is anything on this line or inside is the preferred a channel cross section. So I have 2 to 1 is out, 3 to 1 is out, because I have 1 to 4. Here they reverse it, by the way. This is why they put it here, H and V. This is V and H. Be careful. They reverse that. So I am between C and D. And I need you to learn the process of elimination. Process of elimination. If you are able to reach this point and you have only 22 seconds left, and at least you eliminated 2, answer A and answer B, at least 50-50. Just pick one and pray to God. May God accept your prayer and you'll get the right one. But obviously, if you have time, obviously I am between 1 to 5 and 1 to 6, or 5 to 1 and 2. He said that what is the steepest slope. So if this is 5 to 1 slope, 6 to 1 is a flatter slope. 6 to 1 is slope like this. 6 to 1. 6 is flatter. So now he's asking for the steepest, so my answer will be C. Because he needs the steepest one. If he changed the word to make it the flattest one, I will pick answer D. So one word can make a difference in selecting the proper answer. And always look for keywords. Keyword or keyword. In every question, there is some kind of keywords. I used to write questions, so all these years of teaching and writing questions, and maybe I can guess that every question must have a keyword or keywords which will guide you, especially with the CBT right now. CBT, I need some kind of, but if you search the blue book, you will not find, maybe you'll find some discussion about back slope, forward slope somewhere, but this does not exist because this is from the roadside design guide, the one we use it for transportation. But they can get a scenario from geotechnical book, from water resources book, from structure book, give you a scenario because they are testing your knowledge. As a PE, you should be able to make a good and sound engineering decision. So you may be something in the field and you are having a contractor on the job and there's something happened, and as a PE, you need to take a decision. A quick decision. Must be safe, must be economical, it must be provide the product within the scope that has been set for this project. So the types of the questions, some of them, for example, this problem here, calculations for elevations. You don't need to go and dig. This is just simple math, simple calculations. Here it is the maintenance hole here, maintenance hole here, MH, and we need to get a new one here. This very simple math, slopes and so on, but fast. Okay, this one we talked about yesterday about the sigma is equal P over A. For concrete, they call it F sub C prime, which is a 28-day compressive strength. And we'll talk later on why they specify 28 days. They have 3 tests. And if we take the average and divide it by the area, by the sigma is equal B over A, and we get the answer. So this is something that you don't need to look for an equation. What you will see, your sigma is equal B over A. This in the mechanics of materials section. So this is the format that, for example, here, if we look to the transportation one, okay, or they call it geometrics. For the AM, they call it geometrics, and they still have, by the way, for geometrics, a small number of questions. Here it is, geometrics. It used to be 3 questions. In the previous one, they call it right now 3 to 5, which is geometrics, that circular curves, vertical curves, and the traffic volume, flow speed, and so on. So we do have a problem like this. A vertical curve. Okay, for the sec vertical curve, the tangent slope at station 14 is most nearly. So this is station 13 plus 50, where the vertex is, or the VPI. Station 14 somewhere here. Tangent slope means that if you come here at this and draw a tangent to this curve, or this tangent for the curve at this point, it does have a slope. As you can see, the slope here is negative, the slope here is positive. So I'm expecting the slope here to be positive, because already we passed. And all of them are positive. So you cannot eliminate any of them. Maybe the percentage. In this case, what I need, okay, either you remember the equation from the equation, the y at any distance x is equal the y BVC plus g1x plus rx squared divided by 2. This is the equation that's given in surveying textbooks. Because since I was teaching surveying back in last course in New Mexico, okay, and I am using the surveying also books for the California, I use this equation. In the NCEES, they modified it a little bit. Okay, how they did that. Okay, here if I stick with this, which I know the slope is dy by dx. Probably, okay. So it is equal g1 plus rx. This is the slope. So if I plug right now, g1 is what? Is negative 2.3%. Plus, I know what is r is. The r is not the radius. R is called the rate of gradient change per station. R is equal G2 minus G1 divided by L. If I practice enough, I remember that. So G2 is what? Is a plus 3% minus G1 minus 2.3% divided by L. L is 300 feet times X. I'm using 300 feet. The X is from here to here. This is X. This is 12 and this is 14. So it is 200 feet. Some books, they prefer to use stations. So if I use a station, I will use a 3 here and I will drop the 2 here. And this will give you the percentage directly. Just a simple math. If I know, but if I cannot remember this, what I will do, I will go to the geometric section, which is in the blue book, okay, chapter 5. And there's a section for vertical curves. And you will find that the equation is a little bit different. Here it is. This one here. It is on page, so I should know that, on page 278. Here is a vertical curve. R, they keep the R, is G2 minus G1 divided by L. And they give you the Y and A and lowercase a and E. And this is the curve equation. This is the one I use it. They said Y of the BVC plus G1x plus, and instead of R x squared divided by 2, they call it AX squared. Because A in this case is what? What is A? A is equal G2 minus G1 divided by 2L. Given here. which is will give you the same equation, because right now I can say this is y at any distance is equal y of the BVC. Did I say here it is BVC? Okay, or they call it BVC, by the way, point of vertical curvature. Y of the BVC plus G1x. I can plus, and instead of A, I will be G2 minus G1 divided by 2L times x squared. But I know R is equal G2 minus G1 divided by L. So I can modify this equation Y BVC plus G1x plus this is R x squared divided by 2, which is the same equation that I have it before, which is the one I use it. If you practice enough, maybe you'll remember that. R is still the same R, and the x is the distance from the beginning. X is measured from here. X, it is between 0 and L. X here is 0, always measured from the beginning of the vertical curve. So you need to locate this section of the blue book in order to solve a problem like this given in the NCEES. So the task right now, let us look to this problem here, number 38. You have 3 areas, cut and fill, and he is asking to calculate the volume, the net excess excavation of the material. So the volume, I will use the average end area method. The average end area method, which is basically A1 plus A2 divided by 2 times L, and we divide by 27 if you need the answer cubic yard, and this is the KCS. So if I go to chapter 2 of this blue book is very important. Now I will go to chapter 2, which is the construction. Okay, and you will find that here it is. He gave you the average in the area method. Volume, they give you here 3 scenarios here for the cross section. A1 plus A2 divided by 2 times L. They have the Prismodial formula. If the Prismodial formula is applicable, the borrow bit volume, the grid method. If you flip the page, you will find that some discussion about how can we apply. This is a wedge, and this is the quarter of a right circular cone. Also talking about the area using coordinates, trapezoidal rule, Simpson's rule. We'll cover all this also. And if you have a problem related to calculate the area using coordinates, he will give you, there is a parcel. Okay, Mr. Mansour has a piece of land, and here it is A, B, C, D, E. He will give you the coordinates, either X, Y, or northern and eastern. Here is using X and Y. So each one of these corners, it has X, A, Y, A, and this is X, B, Y, B, name it, and so on. He gave you the general equation. In fact, when I was talking about this, I said that I will show you much easier method. It is the same, but I hate this equation. It's a little bit confusing. I will show it to you, and you will never forget it. The group that showed you, okay, because I covered this in the surveying for the California surveying, special surveying exam, and the equation is correct. Don't misunderstand. It will give you the same answer, but probably instead of missing something, I will set it up in a certain way. Obviously, you need to write and calculate something. I think they give you some paper and some kind of eraser, markers with. They will give you everything. It is written on the NCEES. But the bottom line I need you to be aware of, don't assume that this book has everything. You need to be well prepared. There are a lot of conceptual questions and a lot of materials, and this is why they need to protect themselves so nobody will take them to court. The PE Civil does not. I'm reading again from the introduction. Please read. Here it is. does not contain all the information required to answer every question on the exam. I needed to read this, I don't know how many times. This is why you need to prepare yourself very well. This is why I believe in textbooks. I'm always using my textbooks for the last. In the past I used to use Mr. Lindbergh book, the PPI. Before I wrote 5 chapters for him in his PE book and the FE books way back in 1995. This book, which is a very famous book, I respect this book, which is it's called Civil Engineering Reference Manual. This is the 50. They have the 16th edition by Mr. Lindbergh. I work with him in different books. I as a contractor, okay, as a contract or through a contract, okay, but I don't have any copyright here. He has a copyright, okay. Just I was doing for fun. I wrote 5 chapters in this book and the FE book also way back in 1995. And my name is, I wrote it, okay. But it's a very thick book. It has a lot of knowledge. I'm not against using any book. You are very welcome. But we need to use, okay, we need to focus on the knowledge and the information that you need for the exam, because you have a very limited time to study. Everybody is busy. You are busy with work, wife, husband, kids, school, COVID. COVID is killing us. For the last 2 years, I suffered a lot. I was here by myself. I cannot hire anybody to help me because I was afraid somebody will have, but with the vaccine right now and all these things, I start to hire people to help me because I'm trying to do my best to enjoy. I'm doing this because I enjoy teaching. I've been teaching for 37 years. This semester, I'm teaching at CSU Fresno again, teaching seismic design. And maybe this coming fall, I will be back again full time. I'm doing my best to keep myself busy and enjoy what I'm doing, and try to help as much as I can. So do your best. I came up with the CBT exam. I can send it to you to try. It will be electronic. I can send it to you. Let me see if I have it here. If not, I will be glad to send it to you. I will send you the link. I need you to try it first. I need to try the CBT. I don't know if it could be, maybe not here. If it's not here, chapter 1. No, this is a chapter 1. This is the chapter 1, the one I was talking about yesterday. This is a way I cover the class. That as I said, that the I was talking about mechanics. Mechanics of materials is very, very important. You find that the structure problems, the 7 problems in structure, they are related to mechanics of materials. If you understand mechanics of materials, you will be in very, very good shape, which is starting here. Mechanics of materials. I covered everything, assuming that I don't know, because they include vectors. I don't know. Can they ask you a vector? No, I said no, but let's cover it. And we talked about this yesterday, and offset method, and solve many problems, understand the concept of many questions. You need to understand what you are going to see on the exam, each term, what does it mean, and so on. And I did my best. The exam, let me see. No, I think it's not here. So I have a CBT exam. No, I don't have it here. I don't have it here, unfortunately. So I will send it to you. I will send it to you, and basically it is 40 questions. And I will send you the link where you can click on the link. It will take you to another. The people who are having the software. And 4 hours. I need you to open the blue book and only the blue book. No, sorry, don't open the blue book. Let me take it back. Don't open the blue book. Okay, now when you receive the exam from me, click. Okay, you need to go and download the reference handbook 1.1. Okay, download it in your computer and open it and split the screen, and the right side here the questions. Okay, and this will time yourself 4 hours, and I believe the program has a timer. I believe we set it for a timer for 4 hours. And C, can you answer the 4 questions? I'm talking about the AM. And when we start teaching the transportation this coming Sunday, I will talk about the group of the transportation group and construction after that to see how. I do have some CBT exams for them also to be starting. We need to practice a lot. And see how can you handle these 4 questions. You are not supposed to open anything. Okay? So keep every material around you closed or don't touch it, and focus only on the PDF and look to the questions, read and see where can you find the information here. Where can I find Hazen-Williams equation here? Where can I find Bernoulli's equation here? Where can I find Q is equal CIA, the rational formula? Where is a table can get the C? How to calculate the I? And so on. Basically, and this is using the PDF. Don't use a hard copy. But after I practice, obviously, as I told you that, I'm using this hard copy, and I ask every engineer to mark every single little tiny equation or topic or table or a chart related to the AM first. Okay. The PM, okay, this different story, that the transportation here, for example, they provide something very, very short structure, and transportation and construction, they provide very little, because they rely that on the afternoon, you will have 9 references for transportation and the 8 references for construction, which the PMs I'm teaching nowadays, okay, until one day, hopefully I can finish my own books. Geotechnical. Geotechnical is my minor in my PhD in structure from New Mexico State, and with a minor in geotechnical, but I don't have time to finish. I prefer to use my own books. I write it or I prepare them, and they are available on Amazon, and I got reasonable, very or good, very feedback. Let me get that. If you like to call it 4 out of 5 stars or something like that. And now I'm trying to do my best. Okay. So this is what I have for you. Unless somebody can ask me a question or need a clarification. If I know, this is a new for all of us. The CBT, we are in the learning curve, or all of us on the learning curve or using the learning curve. It is a challenge, but it's not impossible to pass. It is possible to pass, but you need to study at least, I ask, at least 500 hours for the AM and for the PM, for the entire, obviously. This for the question, from question number 1 to question number 8. You need to sit and study and understand the concept, and understand the concept very well, because you are not allowed to take any note with you. In the past, yes, we rely on our notes and tabs and different books and different sources and different vendors, and we collect all the information and take it with us to the exam site. No more, no more. You are not, you will be alone in the front of the screen with 2 calculators, and that's it. So you need to store everything in your brain. Your brain is your computer where you are going to store the information, and you need to do this within the time. Obviously, time is the biggest enemy for all of us. Especially you will be, during the exam is very critical, and it will be harder at the beginning, but I believe I normally give access for the on-demand 150 days. This time I decided to increase it to make it for a year. I give access to for 365 days, because I know this year, I don't know, the COVID and Omicron and maybe the testing side maybe, so I give access to the for the on-demand 24/7. I gave them also the on-demand of the previous, which is a fall 2021. It was a very good class. I gave them the old book also, because I need them to follow the on-demand of the blue book, and the new book. Obviously, the on-demand is available to them within a couple of days. The Saturday I was teaching yesterday. Somebody came yesterday and convert the files, and somebody is loading the files as we speak to load it on the Google Drive and load it on the server to send the link to those who are enrolled in our classes, so they can start review the lecture again if they want. I don't encourage them to review the lecture again. Instead of reviewing the lecture again or listen to the same song Dr. Mansour said, no, I prefer to go and solve problems. solve problems and come up with questions next time. Why we did this, why we did this. Because to hear the same song again, unless if there is one area maybe you are interested to know, or you missed it during the lecture, or you were sleeping, or you were thinking about the stock market, what the stock market will do tomorrow. Maybe, yes, you can go back again to the lecture and watch this section, but I don't recommend to watch the lecture more than once, just unless there is a need. But focus on solving problems, reading the books, understand the concept very well. I have been teaching all these years, and I always focus on the concept. My classes are the most comprehensive classes available in the market, as far as I know, as far as the number of hours, because I believe in the concept. This is why I build a lot of hours. Is not just to show you how to pass. Yes, passing is good, and everybody wants to pass, and I'm not against that. But I believe in the concept, so I spend a little bit more time than any other vendor, as far as I know, to the best of my knowledge, that the courses I'm aware of. I'm almost aware of all the courses available in the market, or all the vendors, but sometimes if I miss something, I am a human being. Okay, and I'm trying to do my best. Okay, so I wish you the best, and you can ask me a question if I did not address whatever you are interested to know. If I know the answer, I will give it to you. If not, okay. For water resources, all BM questions will be covered by the reference handbook, or will be any reference. For the water resources, the question that will be given in the water resources for the AM, I'm talking about the AM, you should find all the equations in the section in chapter 6, which is the water resources. Water resources is the biggest one, as I said, and the environmental water resources and the environmental. Oh, this is chapter 5, sorry. So chapter 6, here it is. So here it is. So basically, in the water resources, what I did, I extracted it from this section, which is basically the water resources from page 290 all the way to the end, which is 400 and something. I can't remember what is it. 485. So this section is really very thin, very thick section compared. So the equations. So if you go to the questions of the AM, and for example, let's pick one. Let's pick one, and I can show you. For example, we solved, I believe, one problem. We did not cover it yet, but I was just using to illustrate that. This question here, maybe. This question here, for example, question number 25. Here is talking about assume fully turbulent flow, okay, section. Darcy Weisbach friction factor is given. There is a 5 feet drop in the energy, okay, grade line over the section. The flow rate is so and so. And we'll solve this problem. So basically, I need to determine the equation where the H sub F is equal L over D, okay, F times V square over 2G. This is the equation that Darcy Weisbach equation that we used before. So basically, you don't remember the equations, but if you go to the blue book, you should know where is this one, either by search it, okay, and you go and look for, and you should be familiar with it. Here it is. I was lucky that I opened it and it was in front of me. Here it is. This is the head loss. Here it is. So it is F sub A, L sub A, D, V square over 2G. He is using A and B, the two locations along the beam, or along the bulb, sorry, not the beam. And so on. So theoretically speaking, the answer is yes. Okay, the answer is for the water resources. For example, when I mentioned that Q is equal CIA. For example, this one here. This question here, question number 23. Here he gave you the coefficient runoff, which is C. One is Q is equal CIA. But if he gave you a scenario, okay, does not have the associated table, they give you tables here for the runoff coefficients. But as far as the equation, yes, you will find the equation Q is equal CIA given, and we can locate it and so on. And so basically, you need to be familiar with this book very well. Where are the equations? And this is what I'm doing now, even if I'm going to go chapter by chapter, because I need to make sure that I reference every single equation in my book, because also the equations in my book, maybe they are using different notations, like the equation I was talking about for the vertical curves. They are using the letter A instead of so instead of the y of the BVC plus G1x plus Rx squared divided by 2. They don't use that. They use it is y BVC plus G1x plus AX squared, where A is given as G2 minus G1 divided by 2L. Okay? Different formulation, but it will give you the same answer. So we need to locate the equation, where it is located, where are the parameters, where are the figures, where are the charts, name it. It's not an easy task, but it's not impossible. And I will do my best to help as much as I can, and I wish the best to all of you. Just the PM, the transportation or construction, the two areas I'm teaching. As I said, I'm lucky that my books, the construction and the transportation books, I cited the tables and the charts and the equations from the sources. This is way before they came up with the CBT. So this will be an advantage for me, probably because I prepared it that way. And I hope this will help those who are planning to take the class with me. But we'll do our best. We'll do our best. We will do our best. Any other questions or any comments or any suggestions or any thing that you want me to search for or clarify? But never give up. Never give up. Don't say that, oh, exams are difficult now and I will not pass. No, exams are difficult, no doubt about that. They made it more difficult, yes, no doubt about that. With the CBT, yes. But it's not impossible. It needs a little bit more of concentration from your end. It needs more understanding of the concept. It's not just show me the problem and that's it. No, you need to understand why we are doing this. Why? And is there any other alternative way to do it? Okay, you need to know that. And after that, with a good study, don't rush yourself. If you did not set the exam date yet, of course, this is all year round. And the results will be available after 7 to 10 days. From 7 to 10 days, according to the NCEES. I don't know how many exams per year they will be allowed or they will be permitted. I really don't know. Somebody asked me this question. I told them I really don't know. Yesterday I was saying that they allow you to take lunch hour after the first 4 questions. They will ask you, would you like to take a break? And you can come back after 1 hour or so. Or 50 minutes, whatever break they will give you. And obviously they will search you when you come back to make sure that you don't have any materials that not allowed or not to be permitted to the exam. Try to take very light lunch, fruit or vegetables, some salad, some very light salad and a very light fruit, okay, and try to, because you are going to sit in front of the computer for 8 hours. So your eyes will be really, and you'll be tired and you need to extract the information. And I wish if they give the 4 questions of the PM in the morning and reverse it, because always the 4 questions of the PM are more challenging and more exhausting compared to the 4 questions in the morning. But this is a system. Unfortunately, they will stick with them. 80 questions, the first 4 questions, they are easy, which is the AM, and the remaining questions will be for the afternoon. The question that it came yesterday, yes, the lunch, okay. If somebody decided, okay, if I need to go to the restroom, I drink coffee in the morning and I need to go to the restroom. They stop the clock on the computer when you go to the restroom. One engineer here, he took the FE recently, he said, no, the clock is keep ticking, so you are losing time. So I said, okay, don't drink coffee, just a little bit of water to keep you alive, so you don't have to go to the restroom until the lunch time, where you use the restroom and take light lunch and go back again to the exam site and complete the exam. I wish the best to all of you, and if anything I can help, email me, Dr. Mansour, and you know my website or the email address. I'm doing my best, and I'm doing this because I enjoy it, and I will keep doing this as much as I can, or as long as I can. Okay, AM and PM questions are not separate in the morning and in afternoon. They will include AM and PM questions throughout the 8 hours. And is this correct? Based on what they released, my friend, in the new NCEES, the first 4 questions are considered the AM. This is the way I understand it. So the first 4 questions, because this is identical to the same 4 questions. But if you go to question 41, for example, this here, this is a construction. 41, this was a 501, and the previous, okay, and if you are familiar, I can get the transportation. Let me see if I have a transportation book here. Okay, here it is. The transportation, if you go to 501, old one, and right now the 41, here it is. The 41, it is the LOS. This is the same question. It used to be called 501, and this is 502. They call it 42. This is the same. We need to get the weaving, okay? Okay. So we need to get the density, I believe. We need to get the weaving, so and so is a very okay in the middle. Is most nearly okay. The yes, okay, that's correct. Okay, Mal, and okay, so they need the density, and we talked about that. So basically, for the transportation BM, the same 4 questions in the past, they repeat them again, except 3. This problem here is the same problem. Number 46, and instead of giving you 4 answers, this is a trip generation problem, if you remember, they give you a blank, fill the blank. So this is the one change. The other change, the other problem they have roundabout. Here it is, they roundabout, and they are telling you, for this roundabout, okay, select the characteristics, okay, they are typical for modern roundabouts in the United States. For example, stop signs, we don't put the stop signs in roundabouts. So stop sign is out. Okay, this arrow here, this is a clockwise. No roundabout or counterclockwise. So they need you to select, okay, what is appropriate, okay. Yield, yes, we have yield, but no stop sign. So I will pick what is correct. Here it is, raise the island, yes, or separate. And this is another type of question. And the third type of question is this one here from the roadside design guide. The clear recovery zone, the minimum. He gave you width here and give it scenario here. You need to match this with this, match this with this. So those are the changes they made. Oh no, they added one question here. Here it is. They added this question. This is the first time they added. So basically but everything else is still the same. So I am expecting they are going to give the same order of the questions from question number 1 to question number 1 to 40. I'm expecting this to be the AM, if you like. So from 1 to 40, this is, I believe you need to look to the blue book only, okay, the reference handbook. From 41 to 80, okay, you're still able to use the blue book, but also you can use the 9 standard references for transportation, or the 8 references for construction. Those are the 2 areas, water resources and geotechnical and the structures, I'm not teaching them, so I cannot talk about them because. So this is my expectation, my friend, that the first 40 question will be the AM, and the last 40 question or the following 40 question will be the PM. I hope I address this question, my friend, to your satisfaction. Okay? So do your best and never give up. If you didn't make it last October, October was the last pencil and paper, as all of us know, and now we are facing the CBT. Try to give yourself enough time to be well prepared. Don't rush yourself. The exam is all year around, and you set your exam, maybe make sure that you are 150% ready. Or if you can make it 175 or 180 or 200% will be much better. Put enough time to sit and study and solve many problems. Sky is the limit. As long as you are solving problems based on the test plan, don't solve anything beyond the test plan. Okay, just limit yourself to the topics and the subtopics listed, and do your best. And I will do my best to help you guys. And never give up. Never give up. I need all of you to pass and get your PE as soon as possible. Just pray for me to stay healthy, and pray for you to stay healthy, and we can work together. And I will start, by the way, something already on the website, but I'm really busy. It's called the question of the week. Somebody set the program for me, and I need to start using. I will add questions in order to help as many questions as I can. So check our website for the question of the week and with the answers, and I hope I can come up with a set of questions that will help you to prepare for the exam. Thank you very much for coming today, and email me if you need anything I can do for you. I'm extremely busy, but I will do all my best to help you as much as I can. And be safe, number one. So your safety is number one. You are very welcome, my friend. Your safety is number one, okay? And take the COVID is a serious matter, and the virus is spreading like crazy, but let's do our best to be safe and to be healthy and to prepare for the PE exam at the same time. Bye-bye, everybody.